Season 6 is live, as are we over on our Twitch channel, link in the description below. We're grabbing some footage here for upcoming videos. If you guys want to hang out, talk Season 6, talk life, whatever the case may be, I'd love to see you guys out there and talk with you a little more. Links in the description below if you guys want to check it out. Oh God, that needs to go. So Season 6 here launched as of yesterday, and with it, we of course got a lot of stuff that we broke down in today's earlier video, but there was one thing that kind of slipped through the cracks, something that may or may not have been intentional, but Raven added in something that probably none of us were expecting to see within Warzone. Today we're breaking that down and let you know what you need to, how you can get it potentially, and also what this means for the future of Warzone. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Are you guys surprised to see these weapons within Warzone? Are you hoping that you can get them soon? Whatever the case may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. But as well, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below. Let's aim for 1,000 likes here on this. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 500,000 subscribers, and with a ton of stuff Season 6 related, Vanguard coming up in the next month here, integration not too far off in terms of Warzone. We have so much stuff you do not want to miss, so make sure you stick it here if you're interested in any of that. And finally, my friends over at G Fuel bumped up code espresso to 30% off in celebration of Season 6's launch here. So for this weekend, you can get an added bonus if you guys want to pick up a restock, try anything out for the first time, whatever the case may be. Links in the description below if you guys are at all interested, but let's jump into the video at hand. So again, the Season 6 update came out yesterday for Black Ops, Cold War, and Warzone, bringing with it a bunch of stuff. It was late last night or this morning, depending on where you're at in the world, but we saw things on the surface like a new operator of Mason, some map changes here in which we saw those fissures, as well as the World War II bunkers, new points of interest in that regard, new weapons as well, and even things throughout the season to grind out like a new battle pass, which if you'd like to support the channel and you're planning on picking up the battle pass, maybe consider using code espresso in the supported creator function. It is entirely optional, so do not ever feel pressure to do so, but if you'd like to help out the channel and ever decide to do so, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out some of your generous support in upcoming videos, like some of these legends on screen that have already been supporting within Season 6. But on the surface, again, was a lot of stuff here to play around with and a bunch of different changes. Now, there were definitely some things that were inadvertent changes, like the menu and armory bugs, those being reported by Raven, and whispers I've heard, I don't know if confirmed or unconfirmed, is that they'll be fixed out by tomorrow's weekend playlist update when it kicks on double XP. But while we had a lot of stuff on the surface, there also was a stuff that if you went down that rabbit hole of discovering stuff that wasn't quite mentioned, you found a couple of interesting things here. The biggest thing though is that for those that went into create a class, went to check out some of the weaponry that you could play around with and change your loadouts, you may have noticed two different things. One, there's a new filter option for how you can end up filtering how the weapons show up in that create a class menu. Oddly enough, there's now an option for Vanguard weapons, and that might seem a little crazy, but if you actually scroll down, you'll see that currently, as of Season 6, there are two weapons from Call of Duty Vanguard that are actually in Warzone right now. The STG-44 and the M1 Garand, both clearly visible within that create a class option, and of course, again, in those filter options for the overall weaponry. Now, what's strange though is that there is zero way to actually unlock these right now. The STG saying this gun is balanced to be viable in almost any situation, but does not excel in any one area, and the M1 Garand stating this adaptable, accurate, and powerful rifle can put enemies down with two well-placed shots at mid or long range, but both of them having those locked icons and no challenge associated with them, no seeming way whatsoever to unlock them in any specific way. Now, this of course is incredibly strange, especially given that the integration of Vanguard isn't for another month and a half or so here, and that's just the rumored time frame if it actually all falls accordingly. We don't even have Vanguard yet at all in our hands for us to even rank up or play around with Vanguard weapons as is. So to see these in a Warzone capacity is incredibly weird. Now, there are a few theories as to what will happen with this, but before we get into the speculative, I do want to talk about some of the confirmed items of interest. And that starts to make the conversation a little crazy in terms of fundamentals regarding Warzone. You've seen 5 attachments with Modern Warfare and Warzone weapons. You've seen 8 attachments with the Gunfighter wildcard in Cold War. You've seen 10 attachments in Vanguard, and well, it turns out that that integration now looks to make 10 attachments the standard for Warzone weaponry within Vanguard. 10 attachments including things of the likes of a muzzle, a barrel, a laser, an optic, a stock, an underbarrel, a magazine, a rear grip, and a perk 1 and a perk 2 for those weapons. Now, we knew that the integration would be changing a lot about Warzone, but seeing this that is actually crazy to consider. And this is probably one of those things that will have the most major implications for Warzone's future, if you ask me, and that's incredibly interesting. Now, what's strange is that if you were able to find yourself into a Warzone private lobby and check out each of these weapon attachments, that's actually the way that you could end up looking at these going into private matches. But if you want to do that now, well, unfortunately, it can't, because that's actually patched up here, in which Raven took that offline almost immediately. They said, nope, you're not looking any further into that. But if you're wondering why private matches were taken out of Warzone, that's why. That said, you could see some of these attachments, and what's strange is that, of course, there's not every attachment you'll see in Vanguard, but some categories do have multiple to choose from. So it's not like just a all or nothing of a blueprint to a base weapon type of deal, but you have things like the Maxim silencer, the marksman and lightweight short barrels, the long rounds ammo, oddly placed in the laser category, by the way, so proving that these don't exactly equal the weapon attachment categories we may see here come Vanguard's integration. The monocular reflector optic, the VDD-34S weighted and removed stocks, the carbon foregrip, the extended mags, the fabric rear grip, and the perks of vital and fast melee. So when you come down to 10 attachments as opposed to what we saw previously of just 5, and in Iron Trials, those rare classified weapons that ended up having 8 attachments for Black Ops Cold War weapons, it's a departure from the norm that we know right now for sure, but may make up the new norm here in the future. But that's the facts. That's what we have right now. But talking a little bit of speculation, how do we in the world go about getting these? How do we unlock the STG-44 and the M1 Garand? Well, there are, of course, a few theories out there, and this is all that they are. Don't take any of these as gospel just yet. Take them all with a grain of salt, but there's a couple of different things I think could make sense. Number one, this could be something that is related to an Easter egg within Verdansk. Of course, we haven't seen any Easter egg on Verdansk 84, and the last Easter egg we saw within Warzone as a whole was Season 1 for Rebirth Island. So if we're thinking about Verdansk, it's been since Season 6 of Modern Warfare, now over a year ago, that we had an Easter egg with an earnable reward and a sort of designated quest line here. It's possible that that could be something here, but having jumped in, haven't quite found too much that could relate to any Easter egg here with this just yet. Maybe we're looking in the wrong location, but man, I'm gonna be real with you. If we don't get anything through the red doors, the satellites, the broadcast stations, and now World War II bunkers, that is an incredibly big missed opportunity to give players something to collectively work at and unlock something. Maybe it's how we end up getting these, but that I think may be like a 40-60 possibility. Just a flip of a coin, but more so leaning towards no. Another curious thing that could happen here is that this could be progressive unlocks. We mentioned the mission-like steps that were data mined here for the coming to the Pacific event that will switch us to the new Warzone map here come next month, but along those lines, it seemed like almost like the missions from Modern Warfare, there would be multiple steps to take over the course of time. So maybe you collect X amount of these postcards and you end up getting the STG-44. You collect all of them and you get the M1 Garand as well. Maybe, but again, kind of leaning towards no on that one. Now, the final theory that I personally have here, and one that I think is the most plausible, and I kind of want to say I'd even bet on this one, is that both of these weapons are the new coming pre-order bonuses for Call of Duty Vanguard. Now, that might seem out of left field, but if you recall in a recent blog post talking about the bonuses already out there, and more specifically, a blog post talking about how Kingsley is available now within Warzone and that there were updates to the Night Raid Mastercraft, the air quote second evolution of it, they also mentioned explicitly stating October will also see the inclusion of one more pre-order bonus, whatever may lurk in the shadows as Halloween approaches. Stay connected to all our official channels for intel on this treat as a thanks to those who pre-order Call of Duty Vanguard. Now, my friend Prestigious Key actually did have a phenomenal theory here at this, in which I do think this actually still could be possible as well, in which he theorized that it could be Nocturne Toten coming back as a pre-order bonus for Zombies players. If I recall correctly though, a lot of that was based on the assumption of Nocturne Toten is coming, seen in the marquee of the map, I think it was America, or it might have actually been from the actual Forsaken bit of the trailer for Season 6. But now with the Forsaken map actually out there in the wild, players have found out that there's an arcade game that you can get a token for, and you can play it, and it's kind of a mini game where it takes you back to Nocturne Toten, the original one. So while I think the theory is still possible, that also might have been just pertaining to that mini game inside of Forsaken. And so therefore, Halloween might have actually been something that just throws people off the scent here, that a pre-order bonus could be the ability to use 2 Call of Duty Vanguard weapons before the launch of the game in Warzone. That to me would make a bunch of sense here if you ask me, and especially why we see these pop up right now. But again, that's all speculation. Don't take that to the bank just yet, but maybe just sit on that idea and that thought. But as for what this means for the meta in terms of whenever these are playable, and also then just going forward, well, we've already seen those 8 attachment weapons within Iron Trials. I think that was kind of their way to wade the water here to kind of bridge the gap between 5 to 10. But the question then stems afterwards once we move over to the Vanguard integration, once we move over to the Warzone Pacific map. What's this mean for the overall majority of weapons within Warzone? Because is this only going to apply to Vanguard weapons? We have to build out new attachments in categories to fit different weapons in the past from Modern Warfare and Black Ops Cold War? Or perhaps maybe they're just not usable at all, or maybe they are, but you only have those 5 to 8 attachments. That'll be really interesting to see how everything here plays out with it, because fundamentally speaking, the creator class and the gunsmith is different across all 3 games. So if you're moving to 10 attachments, 2 of those 3 games are not built to have 10 attachments on their weapons. So I'm very curious to see how this all plays out, but that said, that is where I'm going to wrap it up here at this discussion and kind of where I'm at with all of this. Very interested to see where this goes here, and it certainly was not something I expected to see when I booted up Warzone last night, but a cool little surprise, no doubt. Before we wrap everything up, though, I do want to direct your attention to my friends over at G Fuel, who bumped up code Espresso to 30% off in celebration of Season 6 here. All weekend long, you can end up using code Espresso to get yourself 30% off your entire order. So if you guys want to try out something of a new flavor, a starter pack, or if you just want to restock on something, whatever the case may be, now is as best a time as any for you guys to check it out and save yourself as much money as possible. So if you're interested, head on over to the link in the description below. But that said, that's where we're going to wrap it up. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. What do you think is going to happen here with the STG-44 and the M1 Garand? Are you guys looking forward to when this mystery is solved and when you can use these? Whatever the case, feel free to let me know down below. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Warzone, Vanguard, and anything COD related. We got you covered here on the channel, and there is so much still to talk about with Season 6, and of course, everything coming up. So hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to chat with me outside of YouTube. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever the case may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.